It's time for the Film Cricket with Jay Fortier and Chris Martineau. On this week's episode, I co-host a show with Jay to review the 1987 American comedy film Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Jay, those aren't pillows. Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
All right. Hey, friends. My name is Jay Fortier. I'm along with my good friend
Steve Lavoie.
Yeah, baby. Welcome, Steve. Thank you for filling in again.
Yeah.
Whenever Chris has been off or something, you really have been very helpful stepping up and not only every week for doing the intros, but stepping up and joining me on these shows, which is always fun. It's a great time. And we love having you, so thank you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fun. It's fun to do it, and the last time I think I was on the show was for Halloween 2, which was a lot of fun. And you guys pretty much just wrapped up a whole month long of horror films, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. So we're keeping the theme alive. We're going to do an entire month of Thanksgiving. No, I'm just kidding. We're just going to do one episode of Thanksgiving because I don't think there's really
I was going to ask you, do you think there is enough in Thanksgiving? I mean, besides maybe a Hallmark movie or like a real
my brother
movie?
I know my brother mentioned a movie called The Accidental Tourist that takes place around Thanksgiving travel.
Okay.
But we just went for the gold with this movie here.
Yeah.
So we could always maybe do that another time, but let's put it this way. Besides this one, I can't really think of one.
Well,
You know what I mean?
It's funny because I am very, very cheap, and I don't always buy all these movies. So when I recommended, I said, hey, you know what? We talked about it. I said, what about a a Thanksgiving type movie? And the funny thing was, I thought of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because they do play it this time of year, and it's set during Thanksgiving. I was going through my channels that I get on Roku or whatever, and it was on there. So I'm like, cool, I already got it for free. Well, that was in October. So now, fast forward to November, that's no longer you can watch for free because now, to them, that's in season. So, I had no clue. I'm like, oh, great, I'll be able to watch it, no problem. Got the remote, and I'm like, where is it? Where is it?
Dude,
So
I saw it also on different streaming networks leading up to this week. And then I searched high and low. I was like, you
gone
bastards.
Gone. So,
like,
so we're in the same boat. I thought for sure. I'm like, I remember seeing it going, oh, that's a great movie. I'll have to watch it. Kind of, more traditionally at this time, it's gone. It is absolutely. It'll come back, but it's right now. Well, you have to pay for it.
Now there will be some streaming networks that will have Christmas movies available for free because there's so many damn Christmas movies. But this is like one of the few Thanksgiving movies. So it's like, we're going to make sure people just sort of have to pay for this one.
But not the major Christmas, but I think, the Hallmark B-rated movies, you'll see a lot of those.
No, but you will. Disney Plus has Home Alone. And I think they have the rights to it somehow because they own Fox, right? So they're going to have it just because you're already paying for their network. Disney Plus, not you, but I'm saying people in general, if they're paying for it, then...
Yeah. You're going to be surprised. I actually do have that now, so...
Oh, really?
Only because I got a new cell phone, and it was part of the package, so they're giving away the Disney and the ESPN and all of that, so I'm getting out of the dark years and kind of coming to the light a little bit, but
nice.
I was able to... I had never seen it, and... anyone that doesn't have it, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of different stuff. There is the comic type of stuff. There's the Disney stuff. They own quite
Star
a
Wars.
bit now. Yeah, Star Wars. Yeah. They own quite a bit.
There was a funny promo when they first when the Simpsons were first going to be when they first bought Fox. The Simpsons had a funny promo where they're all standing in their front yard and basically saying, like, we welcome our new owners, Disney. Like, and they're all like Homer's putting on like a Mickey ears, and they have like Rupert Murdoch in the trash can, and like the new CEO, like a new photo of him, like up. It was pretty great. So maybe you want to get to the. I can do the one sentence rundown from IMDb, and we can go from there and talk about.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So what we do is basically talk about. We read this because that is usually Chris's job. It's a one sentence synopsis on the movie. For Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and so we always like to see how well that captures the film, because a lot of times it's like, yeah, it's only one sentence, so it really can't cover it, but it's not too bad. This one, I read it ahead of time. A Chicago advertising man must struggle to travel home from New York for Thanksgiving with a lovable oaf of a shower curtain ring salesman as his only companion. Not bad, huh?
Yeah, it's just brilliant. I mean, really, you could end the show right now because it's such a brilliant, not just a brilliant movie. The writing, the directing, it's just phenomenal. John Hughes behind this one, and all of his movies. You just gotta love them. They're just
pretty much most,
fun,
yeah. If not all, most, yeah. He really always found a way to nail, just like whatever he was aiming for, he seemed to capture it. Like, whether it be the teen movies that he did, I mean, it really made you feel like, you know what I mean? You can relate no matter how old you become. And I've seen different people who are younger. And still, even though, yes, you could say it's dated because there's no cell phones and the tech is different, the kids, he still seemed to have his finger on the pulse of like teen movies and stuff like that, on their angst and struggles. And I don't know, the kids find that relatable. So I want to do something. We're going to flip a script today from what we normally do, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Ready?
Okay.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
Okay, so
Usually that's at the end.
Yeah, and I figured,
Yeah.
when we love a film so much, and this is one of those, I think we absolutely love it. There's no doubt in my mind we're going to think the thing holds up. So I'm going to start with this by saying, absolutely, it absolutely holds up. And we're going to spend the rest of the show telling you why.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I like that.
Because,
I mean, it's one of those that, it's absolutely, you know where this is going to go.
Right.
I mean, I think it would be a shocker.
What are we doing? Like suspending, oh, wait. Hold on, here it comes. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, it's an absolute. So let's just get it out of the way and say, yes, it holds up. Now we could talk about different aspects of it but no need to save it for the end. That pit, like, ooh, what are they going to do? Like, what are they thinking? So it's like, nah, it's an absolute. It's a slam dunk. I would recommend this to anyone.
I think you've got the John Hughes is involved in this as a director
and writer,
right? and writer, and now, which is, you would think, slam dunk, right? But with the wrong actors, I think that it could have taken a turn, right, and not been as good. I just think that Steve Martin and John Candy knocked it out of the park. I mean, you just look at them together, it was like perfect. I mean, it just John Candy. How good is John Candy? I mean, I miss him all the time.
Oh.
With the films like Uncle Buck and all of those. I mean, even his role in the original National Lampoons. When he was the security guard. Yeah. I mean, he's just had a lot of fun roles. He was a fun guy.
And I was really sad when he died. really sad. Like, just because it's like, you know, as far as an actor that I didn't know him personally, but I'm saying, like, I was really upset because I will never see work from him again. And he always brought this type of character. It's not exact. Each one is a little different from each other. They're not like, you know, like, oh, yes, they could be goofy people, but they're goofy for different reasons. Uncle Buck was a guy that was kind of a lazy dude that wants to not work. And this guy works really hard. You know, I mean, he travels the country, takes a lot of pride in his work. So let's meet them. Steve Martin plays Neil Page, and John Candy plays Del Griffith. And they bump into each other like through when Steve Martin is basically an ad exec in New York trying to get home to Chicago for Thanksgiving. So it's literally, was it Wednesday or Tuesday? Yeah, I think it's like Tuesday. Right?
I think it was like 2 days before, so it would have been like a Tuesday.
Yeah. So it's Tuesday, and he's trying to get home for Thanksgiving, and he wants to race out to get his get for the 6 o'clock. His friend's like, no, don't bother. I'm going to take, the later one. He goes, you'll never make the 6. You're never going to get there. So he bumps into, he actually trips over John Candy's luggage in the street, doesn't realize he's he's actually meeting him. He doesn't know who John Candy is, Del Griffith. He doesn't realize Del Griffith is around him at all. He sort of sees him, and throughout he's trying to get to the airport. He gets to the airport finally, and then he's sitting across from him, and he realizes, I know this guy. And he realizes that's the guy who took his cab, and I tripped over. He tripped over his thing.
Which a little cameo during that cab stealing scene with Kevin Bacon.
Right.
Where Steve Martin is racing Kevin Bacon down the street to get that cab.
Mm-hmm.
So cameo from Kevin Bacon, very small part from him.
Yeah, not even a word.
But no, not even a speaking role. But kind of fun to see him in the film. But the thing about the whole stealing of the cab, John Candy's Mel, we'll call him, he didn't realize what he was doing.
Yeah.
Del. Del did not realize what he was doing.
Right.
He just, cab stopped. He's slamming on the trunk to have him open it so he could put his luggage in. Didn't even realize what was going on. He is a guy who is pretty oblivious to life in some aspects. He's the type of guy that does a lot of things not knowing he's doing them. And he doesn't do them to be evil.
He's very, very kind-hearted and innocent in a way.
Because he definitely would have let him ride in the cab with him. He didn't even realize he just stole someone's cab.
Right. And by the way, that's not even the one that Kevin Bacon and him were racing for. It was actually the one that Steve Martin paid a lawyer guy like $75 to.
Well, it started at $50. He says anyone that will pay $50. He goes, how much? He goes, $10. He goes, how about $50? He goes, all right. And anyone that will pay $50 will definitely pay $75. And it was just every line in the film is just a riot.
Oh, it's great.
And of course he says, what are you, a criminal or something like that? He goes, no, close, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. Yeah.
So like after he pays a stranger $75, like basically to go ahead of him to take the thing, the cab driver's getting impatient, so he takes the first guy that's tapping on which is Del Griffith, and so he sits. He's sitting across from him, and he realizes, I know this guy from somewhere, and he realizes that's the guy who took the cab. And what's funny is, John Candy's reading a book. Did you see the book he was reading?
Yeah, was it Unmounted in Canada?
No, the Canadian
like
Mounted.
in Canada?
And
the Canadian Mounted.
What's great
Canadian
is
Mounted,
it's like, you see some lady like half naked on the front. The Canadian Mounted. Just basically reading like a sex novel in front of.
Now he's from Canada, right? John Candy.
But it's just funny that somebody would be sitting there reading that in open view for everyone else to see that he's sitting there reading that. And he starts.
And if he was from France, it would have been we.
No. But he sees that he goes, I want to make it up to you. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was taking your cab. Like, the next thing you know, he's like, hey, can I get you a beer, a hot dog, Slurpee, tea, Lifesavers? He's like, no, thank you, no thank you. You could tell he's really, really excited to talk to him. And Steve Martin's like, the prim and proper guy, doesn't want to be bothered, a little more higher class in his own head anyway, doesn't want to be bothered by him. He's not the type to be one having a big long conversation with a stranger. So next thing you know, he gets on the plane. Who happens to have the exact seat next to him? And it's really great. It's just, and it's one of those things. I can see why the writing in this gets me, because I tend to side with both sides. Like, I can relate to Steve Martin getting annoyed by this guy that just won't shut up about God knows what. I get that. But then I also understand, the need for human connection that John Candy seems to be, projecting out there about, like, you just want to, like, have this conversation because John Candy, you will learn a little later, is a loner guy that's traveling, like a traveling salesman. So if you really don't have people, you got to talk to whoever. You know what I mean? Like, and you're trying to find that one person to talk to.
Yeah, I think early on, though, we find out that even though he's a loner, he's not necessarily a loner, because he networks with everywhere he goes. People, I think people.
Like absolutely.
Him. And maybe he doesn't hang out with them per se, but he can just make a simple phone call and get a favor done, because he knows that many people. And that's how he does it. He's your typical salesman, right? I mean, whether it be a real estate agent or someone of that sort, they are always kind of out there to get to know you and say hi. And they're not shy, because part of their job is to get those other jobs through being a friend, kind of, or being, so it's like, oh, you may not be selling your house today, but hey, this is great. And if you ever want to sell your house, I'm here, that type of thing. So he has that true salesman, look to the guy next to you and strike a conversation.
But not the slicky boy salesman that we all want to punch.
Oh, no, yeah, no, in a good way. Like,
right.
Obviously he wasn't even trying to sell him anything,
yeah.
But hey, here's what I do. I'm a salesman to do this, and hey, you never know. Sometimes through conversation, he might need shower rings.
How great is that? Think about the idea that John Hughes writes in that this guy is a shower curtain ring salesman. That's awesome. Like, because really,
no one's ever heard of it.
Yeah, who would ever? Probably doesn't even exist. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that he takes
designer rings, like,
takes such pride in it.
He carries around this little, like, it's like a little portfolio, a little pocketbook kind of of all these different styles of shower curtain rings. I mean, it's like, and he really does. He holds us to a high standard. He does not think his job is stupid.
Oh my God,
he loves his job.
No, he really, really does. Yeah, and it's almost like a carpet sample book. Like, like he holds it up and it's like little miniature shower curtain rings.
It's great.
And there's even a point in the because they end up sort of, we'll get into it, but they end up throughout the thing running into all sorts of issues together. They sort of team up at times to just, they're both getting home to Chicago, but like everything seems to go wrong. So like at times they're sticking together because it's like, I don't know what else to do. We got this going on, let's just work. And there's a point where they don't have money because they got their money stolen. What's great is there's a point where he's selling shower curtain rings to strangers and basically calling them like earrings. Like he's like, we have right here, you get your Darryl Strawberry autographed earring. And then he's like, he's selling clear ones. He goes, they're light. They're filled with helium. and then there's, how about with the girls? There's like these 3 girls. And he's like, he goes, I know you guys are like, 14, 15, but I'd say you pass for like 17 or 18. They just hand over their money, So, yeah.
But you believe him. So again, he's a believable guy. He's not a bad guy. So yeah, he has to lie a little bit there to make some money because they had no money. They had been robbed. So they had to do what they had to do. And but he's so believable because he's the nice guy. I think he's that nice, believable guy.
Now, but like, there's the annoying aspect too, where he goes a little too much, where he's a little too familiar really quickly. For instance, he's on the plane. He's just, nonstop chit chat where he just like keeps talking about, this. And then, Steve Martin's like, sorry, I'm not much of a talker. I'd like to finish this article. A friend of mine wrote it. Just like probably picked it up from the seat in front of him. It claims that his friend wrote it. But he's like, oh, yeah. He goes, don't mind me. There's nothing I hate more than some chowderheads that won't shut their trap. Whatever. And then like a minute later, he's like, oh, my dogs are barking. He takes his shoe off. Then he starts like taking his sock off and he starts going, woo, like shit. Steve.
And he's whipping it around like you just got a new one of those like air freshener trees, and you go in your car and you do the first couple of whip arounds of your car with it. He's doing that with his sock. Like if it wasn't bad enough to smell it from down under, let me just go in the air a little bit. And
it sort of brushes by Steve Martin's Neil Page's nose, like boom. So it's just like the worst thing that, you just met this guy. You already think he's kind of annoying, and now he's taking his socks off, like in an airplane. And they just.
Funny thing though about the airplane thing, I found this, and they say that they actually took that from, and I don't know which part it was, but the exterior of the aircraft in flight is a reuse of the 707 flying through the storm from the movie Airplane 1980.
Really?
So that was on a little fact page about the movie that I found. So
did you see the deleted scene? Because there's only one deleted scene that they'll allow you to see now for the airplane.
Right. Well, the movie is what came out in the theaters and what they're showing on television now. There's a deleted scene. Is that what the one
Did
you're
you
talking
happen to
about?
see it?
It was in the movies. No, not on the.
They're on the plane.
No, I didn't. I don't think so.
And they're eating. They're eating an actual meal, and he's talking about all the different flights that he'll go on and choose different things. And basically, Steve Martin's trying to eat this what looks like lasagna, but he goes, maybe 7 hours ago that was lasagna. It's been reheated and reheated, and by the time it got to you. But what's funny is a lady in front of Steve Martin flips her long hair that's like literally that would be like down to her feet, like flips it over the back of the chair and it lands on his brownie. So Steve Martin, being the germaphobe type of guy that he is, basically he looks at it and John Del Griffith says, "You're not going to eat that now, are you?" And he goes, No, I probably not. No. And he goes, "Do you mind if I have it?" And then him and this other guy that's next to him split the brownie. Like it's like now they're going to eat this brownie like that just had this hair in it. Oh, so funny. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think the one I had to order it, and I think I ordered it through Amazon, and I don't believe that was in that one. So
it's not. It's
not
not
on
in
the
it.
DVD.
No, it's not in it.
Or...
Yeah, but if you go to YouTube, it'll be there. And I think they might air it sometimes on TV to take the F-bomb section out. You know how like 'cause he does that big tirade.
Well, yeah, and I actually have fun facts on that one as well. But that's kind of weird though. How so that was in the original theater version.
What, the F-bomb?
If you went to the movie theaters, no, the brownie scene or the. Oh, I wasn't.
No, it's just a deleted scene that they I think they throw in now maybe on TV to put in place of the F-bomb scene.
John Hughes had said that they had probably over 3 hours worth of this film.
Yes.
That they said you'll never see
maybe
it. I mean,
not.
There's
Yeah.
so many deleted scenes or something. They said some. I love how they always say the vault. We don't know where the hell the vault is, but so somewhere in a vault is more like probably another hour and a half worth of
Think of
video
that, 3 hours and something. That's longer than Titanic, like 3 hours and 20 minutes or something like that for the original, like full, all that they've filmed. But then they cut it down, and it still became a masterpiece. So it would be one of those things. I'd love to see it. I'd love to say that I saw it, but I don't think I could ever love it more than what I've already appreciated about what they've done. Let me.
Yeah, but there's probably some one-liners.
Oh
that
no,
are
I'm sure it's
really
great.
good.
I'm sure it's great.
You know what I mean?
I
'Cause
just
there's
can't.
so many.
I just what I'm saying is sometimes less is more. So I think that maybe there's a good chance that it's already perfect the way it is.
You know, so I think that we are constantly reminded in this film that Dell is a good guy. He's made a lot of connections, and that I can't.
Neil
forget
Page.
Is it Neil Page? Neil Page is I don't want to say he's dark, but he's as kind of cold, if you will, as the guy that couldn't make up his. You know, he went to New York City, and the guy couldn't make up his mind which painting he wanted, which not
Advertising.
painting, but, which ad he wanted, advertisement photo he wanted. So it's almost like, you know, he's almost as cold as that. He's not. He's friendly, but not really friendly. And we're kind of clued in each segment of the movie. So basically, planes, trains, and automobile. We start with the plane, and then they have to fly. They get diverted because of a snowstorm. They were supposed to fly to New York to Chicago. They get diverted to Wichita, Kansas, which, by the way, is a true story to John Hughes. That happened to John, and that's how he came up with that. Because it's like, why would you pick Wichita? You know, so but that really happened to him, and it did take him 5 days to get home. So that part of the story is really a true story.
And what's great is Neil calls his wife when he gets off the plane, like, you know, when they get rerouted, and everyone else calls a hotel. So all the hotels get booked up quickly because he doesn't realize it's full on gonna be canceled. So when he learns that it's canceled, he's like, "There's nothing available," and he's like, "Well, if you get me if you pick up the cab, I'll make sure he hooks you up with a room." And he looks down, he sees a guy sleeping on the floor, and he goes, "Yeah, sounds good. And that's kind of how it begins, about them getting, like being stuck together. Yeah. Now, when they get there, they end up with, they end up having, like, there's one room. Like, you don't even realize it until, like, the guy goes to hand them the key, and he's like, "Last room in the complex." You mean share? And they get in and they look, there's only one bed, and they just look at each other like, I mean, they just met like 3 hours ago, and you're about to share a bed with this person. Right? And what's great is that bed, that's a full size. I don't think that's even a queen.
Well, that's funny. And also, I don't know about you. I haven't been to a boatload of hotel rooms, but have you ever been to one with a vibrating bed? Like, all of these movies have vibrating.
I think
beds.
It was an early
it's just the
80s. Well, it's mid 80s, but still, it's like, I think it's like an 80s thing, and then maybe earlier than that, like 70s. Yeah, no, it's weird. And it's like, to me, it's still a foreign concept. I've never had anything like that, and they're always like, what was it? I think in National Lampoon's Vacation, he puts a quarter in and it won't stop. So they get off the bed and start trying to do it on the floor. And in this one, he discovers that you don't see it happen, but you learn it through them talking. He's like, "I had no idea those beer cans were going to explode like that." He's like, "You left them on a vibrating bed. What the hell did you think was going to happen?" No, it just didn't occur to me.
And of course, the beer has been spilt all over where Steve Martin's character is going to sleep. So it's just funny. I mean, and the bathroom scene is very funny, where he's going to get a towel.
The only thing he left him was like a damn face cloth.
Like, yes, Dell left him nothing but a face cloth. Yeah, he's just, it just doesn't go well for Neil at all. And you can tell, you know, he makes decent. He's a guy that makes decent money. He's probably not used to motel rooms and things like that. So he really is struggling with this style of this lifestyle kind of where Del. I mean, he's been there before. That's how he got him the room. Right. He knows the guy. So this is like what he's used to. In fact, he's kind of, this is what he does because he has that whole chest of things, and it's a picture of his wife, and when he goes to the hotel rooms, every single time they're at a hotel room, he puts the picture of his wife on the nightstand. It's like he has this ritual.
Well, it's like his little home
at every hotel.
It's like his little home.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is, though, like when you're with someone else, you have no choice but to adapt to, okay, so like this guy wants to sleep, right? So the Neil Page wants to sleep right now, and rightfully so. You know, it's like overnight, in the middle of the morning there. But now he's restless, so he wants to read. So he pulls out a lighter and his book and starts. You can hear that flick. He starts reading a book, so it's like he doesn't want to stop his thing, but at the same time, he doesn't want to like fully have the lights on to bother Neil. But the greatest thing is you realize quickly all the things that Del needs to do to get ready for sleep is stuff that would drive anyone nuts that's right next to him. I mean, like a wife that had already signed a contract to be married to him would probably be annoyed by the stuff that he's about to do. Like he starts clearing his sinuses. Right? And then the other thing where you see him, you don't see his hand, but you hear scratching. Like you just hear the scratching going on. It's like, Jesus Christ, is he scratching his crotch? I mean,
although he calls out Steve Martin's character later on, because when they're in the car, he says, "You know what annoys me about you?" And he's like, "Yeah, you fidget with your nuts a lot." So it's kind of funny that I think that Neil's character, or Steve Martin's character Neil, he does things too, but he's a lot more discreet about doing it.
Right. Yeah, Larry Bird doesn't do as much ball handling in one night that you do in an hour.
Now there's a sign of how old the movie is.
Yeah, that's a dated aspect, but it's still funny anyway. You know what I mean? Like if a kid has to look up who Larry Bird is in that moment, hey, so be it. But I got to tell you, what's coming up is when John Candy keeps doing little things like clearing his sinuses and stuff like that, and Del Griffith does all that, and then Neil Page gets up and flips out, and then starts basically laying into to Del about all the things that annoy him. So he's like basically saying stuff like, "Didn't you get a clue? I wasn't interested in what you had to say on the airplane when I started to read the vomit bag." All right. Now he goes on this thing and just lists. I don't want to do it all. I suggest everybody look it up. Just look out when.
Very good scene. Yeah.
It is so good,
Very good
that
scene.
The first time I rented this, I was like 15 years old. It had just come out on video. I laughed so hard that I had to pause it because I couldn't stop laughing. And I was like, I didn't want to miss any more of what he was saying.
Right.
So it is so well written that it's just the ultimate in insults. But it wouldn't be funny maybe if you hadn't already watched what Neil Page was going through with this guy. Now, you've seen it, you've heard it. Now, you listen to him just lay into him, and it is hysterical. Now, what's brilliant about the writing here, though, is that they go from that, where it's so funny, losing your mind laughing at all the things he's saying to him, and they flip it like this in 2 seconds. As soon as he's done, you feel so bad for John Candy because of the brilliance of Del Griffith. My apologies, everybody. I keep saying John Candy. It's Del Griffith, the character.
Well, I call Neil Steve Martin. So yeah.
Right, I keep doing the same thing. But anyways, you feel so bad because John Candy, Del Griffith, he portrays it. He's the way he comes out and says, "Fine, You want to insult me? I'm an easy target. And then starts talking about, I like me. My wife likes me. And he's like, I'm exactly what you get. And that's why my customers like me. And you could see like water, hit like tears in his eyes.
And it's not BS.
No.
Because
But I'm saying you instantly
it's
feel
definitely
bad.
from the heart.
So I'm saying you
Yeah.
laugh your ass off
Yeah.
at him, by the way, because the way Neil Page is going ballistic on him. And then 2 seconds later, you're like, oh, I feel like shit now. Because they just...
But
Brilliant.
It was a typical John Hughes outburst. Like he did it early in this movie, like Christmas Vacation. Some of the other ones, it's the buildup takes almost the entire movie before it gets to there. Where this one, I mean, we're like maybe a quarter of the way into the movie. And here it comes. Here comes the first. Steve Martin, I will say, his character has a few of these moments where they are just, because he's kind of a quiet actor. He's not real. He's not a loud character, but he can go and have these outbursts where he just loses his stuff. I mean, he just loses it, and he does it early in this film. That's the first scene when they're in the hotel room where he loses it, and he does it a few more times during the film.
Now, apparently, Del had ordered pizza that night, so a pizza delivery guy showed up, which we didn't see because that's in the deleted stuff. What's important about that is that if it were to be seen, you would have seen the pizza guy, and you would learn that the pizza guy is the guy who comes back and robs them. Because in the overnight, there's a guy with blonde hair that takes their money, breaks...
Younger kid. Yep,
breaks into their room, steals the money from their wallets, and leaves. And then the next day, they're at the diner, and they open up their... Steve Martin opens up his wallet and looks at him and says, "You took all my money." And they realize that neither of them have money in their wallets. They still have their credit cards, but their cash is gone. And it's just it's kind of interesting that the pizza guy, which we've never seen, is the one who actually knew to go back and take their money. So it would have kind of an interesting thought that we would have known who this person was. But, they made it out as if it was just like a full-on stranger. But so, yeah, that's when they come into bigger problems. They make a phone call. The guy that runs the front desk says, "Oh, I got my I don't know, his son or whatever, Owen." The guy shows up, and he's like making this this weird nasally when he meets them. And he's
absolutely.
Basically, he's going to take them down to Wichita or whatever. But they got to sit in the back of the truck. They're freezing. It's like 1 degree out, and it's because Thanksgiving time, that can be really, really cold, and they have no room in the front, so they're chilling out in the back, freezing to death. It's just like and they finally get a train. They get into a train. What happens to the train?
Oh yeah, the train completely pretty much doesn't blow up, but it pretty much catches on fire and smoke everywhere. It's broken down, and it breaks down near a farm. And it's now it's November. It's around Thanksgiving, and November in the Midwest, they get some snow and everything. So this farm, although there wasn't snow on the ground, but it was muddy. It was a farm that was all the crops had died for the season. They're trying to walk through it with all their luggage. It's not like anyone came to pick them up off the train. They're like, yeah, you got to walk a few miles this way and through the field. There's no real walking paths and get to and then you'll get picked up. So they they really don't make any arrangements to help these people out at all.
And the other thing is too. Steve Martin's character, I know, I keep saying Steve Martin, Jesus Christ. Neil Page lies.
Well, no, he wasn't in the film.
Neil Page lies to Del about that there are no two seats together, and that's how much he doesn't want to be with him anymore. He doesn't want to hang out with him. He's like, he goes, I told the girl over the phone she's new. Oh, maybe we'll get together in the diner car and have a beer. He goes, no, I can't.
Yeah.
It's like he keeps, and then he realizes it later.
But but the funny thing is, you say that now. We had that moment where he felt bad for Dell in the hotel room after he made fun of him. He felt bad for him, but it didn't last long.
Well,
so even though he felt bad from that one time, he still doesn't want to be his friend.
We did forget to talk about something the next morning. The 2 pillows.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, so they spent the night in the hotel. Before you get to the train, there is a moment that is just classic if you haven't seen it already or on the trailer. Because they're in the same bed together, they forget through sleeping and muscle memory, they think they're just like, so the morning is they start to pan the camera from left to right, and you hear like, I think it might be Patsy Cline or something like, I'm back in baby's arms.
That's it, yes.
Right? And what's funny is they pan left, and you see Dell basically spooning with Neil Page, right? And it was funny, he's sleeping. They're both sleeping. And he kisses Neil's ear. And then he goes, Dell, why did you kiss my ear? And then Dell goes, why are you holding my hand? He goes, where's your other hand? Between 2 pillows. Those aren't pillows. And they flip out, jump up, like acting all manly. Did you see that Bears game the other day? Hell of a game, hell of a game.
They got a good season. They're going to do well this year. Yeah, they're going to do well this year.
So that's genius. I mean, what I love so much, too, about that is when you saw like an interview about them, Steve Martin, I can actually call him that because the actor Steve Martin said every time they could feel the camera, they knew it was panning from left to right. Every time they knew the camera was passing over them, they'd burst into laughter together on this scene. So like they'd lie there perfectly fine, but as soon as the camera was about where it needed to be, they'd just start losing it, laughing hysterically.
Well, it's funny
awesome.
too is that they have both been quoted to say this is their favorite film that they've starred in. Both of them have said that. So
I can't blame them
it's
because
pretty cool.
It is that good. But here's what's cool about this: Dell gets off the train. Neil gets off the train. Dell's got this crate. This is not just luggage. This thing is a big, solid. Yeah. There's something you could hide inside of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could literally curl up your body and hide it in the damn thing. Heavy, not something you want to be traveling with, but he does anyway. Now he looks over at Neil and he'd already put 2 and 2 together that there was no way there was no 2 seats together. You did this you basically blew me off. So you could see it on his face, and then he runs over to Dell and starts grabbing the other end of the crate so like there's moments where Neil can't stand this guy because he's too much and he's too over the top, but then there's other moments where he actually has a heart and feels bad and wants to help him out. So I love the back and forth on that because it's like I don't know, and John Hughes, genius at making you feel it. Like I said, I took the ride, and if you watch it like I do, I think I think folks at home will also do the same. Where you're like, oh man, that guy's such a. Oh yeah, I really feel bad for him.
Well, you know what it is he doesn't change overnight, and that's what it comes down to. That there are moments where you go, wow, here it is. He's going to change. He's going to become that better person, but it comes and goes. It comes and goes. He turns into the character you want him to be, and then he goes back into the character he was. So that was kind of back and forth the whole movie.
Yeah, it's really, really great though, because like I said, they make you feel it.
The scene where he goes to get the rental car. It has always been I just love. And I guess we see it twice actually. We see this when he first goes on the plane at the beginning. She's giving him crap, and it's kind of like that corporate kind of check the box. work kind of attitude. Like how people can't come out of character sometimes at work. Like they just it's just like, okay, come on, you can talk to me like a human being, right? But she and they show you this because what is she? She kisses one of the passengers as he walks by, but yet to Steve Martin's character, she's a complete corporate, I don't care about you kind of, this is it. This is all we have, that type of thing.
Probably also
attitude.
because of the way he's talking to her. He's like, I have first class. And she's like, you have a coach seat assignment. It's right there on your ticket. And he's like, I was booked months ago. But he's giving her attitude. So she's like, I'm not going to be.
He is. But she kind of goes to that whole checkbox. So same thing now. We see that with the rental car at the airport. Same kind of thing where she's kind of she's just reading him, the fake smile and the, how are you today? And, now she has kind of a bubbly personality because we saw that when she was on the phone with her family talking about Thanksgiving. She's a bubbly personality person, but she's kind of really over the top when she starts talking to the customer. And, he said something that I think we all would love to say. I mean, when he says you can start by wiping that grin off your face or something, because when you're having a bad moment, you don't care if someone's smiling at you. Like, how can I help you? You're like, you're just having a terrible day.
But he took it out on someone who didn't rent him the car. She just happened to work for the place that rented him the car.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
but she's the face. She's the face of his problem.
But like at the same time, I get what she's going through because like I've been a cashier so many times in my life, and the people want to pummel the cashier even though the cashier has zero to do with the price. You know what I mean? Like like you become the owner of the company at that moment. Like I remember
you're the one that's rich.
I worked at a pet store and people thought like $100 and something for a dog crate. And it's like, I didn't walk around with a pricing gun and say, you know what, I'm going to call it $150 for this crate, $200 for that one. I don't. What do I look like the owner? No, I wouldn't be ringing if I were. So it's like, but take it out on someone else, dude. But yeah, so that's when he flips out because what happened is they drop him off at a parking lot. They have to take him there by some sort of like a shuttle van. He drops him off, and it's an empty spot. So there's no car there waiting for him. Now he has to walk across. Now it's freezing out. He's loose. He lands in a snowbank. He's walking like across a runway. He's freezing to death, and that's when he sees her basically talking to somebody in her family saying, it's okay, you bring the ambrosia and I'll bring the whatever, like they tell you, oh yeah, absolutely, with the little marshmallows, like
and then right before
in total bliss.
Right before she talks to him, I mean, she does the little gobble gobble turkey thing. I mean, it's just so funny. Like, yeah, and she doesn't care that he's standing right there, and then but when he bursts into that line, it just sets up the most. It's just so. I looked it up. There are 18 F-bombs dropped in 60 seconds on that one scene.
Right.
It is just, and it's not a movie like some comedies where it's loaded with the F word.
Nope.
And that's what makes this movie funny because the F word is fun when it's sporadic. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think some people think if you use it all the time. But you know what?
I think it's nowhere else
when it's
besides
sporadic.
the spot.
Probably not.
I think it's completely void except for right here.
Yes, they take. If you said it like 18 times in a film, they do it all in 60 seconds.
That's really the only thing that gave
film.
it the R rating.
Yeah.
But so because he's lost it, and he's like, he's got that face, and he says, he's like, give me a fucking Datsun, a fucking Toyota, 4 fucking wheels and a seat.
Yeah.
Give me anything.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, can I see your rental agreement? I threw it away. And she goes, oh, boy. Or whatever. Oh, brother. Oh, boy, what? You're fucked. So she says it, but she makes a face too, like I finally get to treat you badly after you just lambasted me for the last minute. And then he comes around the corner, and insults the guy who is running the cab company or something like that. Guy punches him in the face. He falls over. John Candy almost runs him over with a car that he rented. And
what is it with those cars? It almost looks like
The
a
Truckster.
miniature version of the family Truckster. It's got the same. There's something about that green with the wood paneling that I mean, it couldn't have been that car. I don't remember seeing those cars in the 80s. Do you remember seeing that color scheme?
I don't know. No, not really. But
I had bought. Yeah, I had bought a motorcycle with that color scheme, but that's only because someone else put it there. Like, and trust me, I got made fun of every time I rode the thing. They said, "Oh, here he comes. He's on the family Truckster." So, it was a motorcycle from the '80s I bought, and someone must have loved that because they actually painted it the brown. It didn't have wood paneling, but it was brown with green, and I'm like, who the hell would do this? So I don't know. I don't think it was that common, but for John Hughes, it had to be that kind of looking car.
right.
So that was a lot of his, like I said, a lot of his films. That was legendary.
Now, and you also see that Dell accidentally tries to flick a cigarette out the window. It lands in the back seat and starts to smolder, and they get to a point where they get into. They're on the wrong side of the highway, and the people are going, "You're going the wrong way." It's so funny because
So when we talk about and you did it different today. I just wanted to nail this because it's so funny that you said, listen, we're not even going to talk about does it stand the test of time because we know it does. We're just going to talk about this film. Last night, I'm leaving a hockey game outside the arena, and we're in there's a bunch of people, a crowd. We're waiting for the crosswalk light to come on so we can cross an intersection, and someone does this U-turn, and some guy yells, "You're going the wrong way!" And it was obviously from the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So last night, if I was even on the fence about this today, it was like, oh my God, look at that. I knew exactly where he got that from,
Yeah.
and it's just funny.
Yeah.
It's funny when people will still do that.
because people see them from the other side of the highway and they're trying to help by saying to them, "You're going the wrong way," and they're misinterpreting. Oh, they're drunk. How the hell do they know where we're going? Yeah, how do they know? Thank you. Thank you. And then they realize two tractor trailers are coming towards them, and they end up in the dead center, and
And this is where it's a little foolish, right? I mean, the whole movie was pretty good. It's not being like over the top foolish, but during that scene, there's the flashing of lights, because they're going in between the tractor trailer trucks, barely making it with sparks on the side. They turn into skeletons, like looking at each other, skeletons, and then he looks over at Dell, and what does he see?
the devil.
Dell is now the devil.
Right.
Like he's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it was a
So
silly
that's
way
probably
to
the most
accomplish
foolish,
it.
I think.
But it's still
But I would say that's the most silliest
Oh, yeah.
of the
right.
movie.
Nothing.
Yeah,
the rest of the movie is not like that. So, but what's funny is that the trunk gets, his trunk that he's been carrying around gets launched, and they gotta go pick it up from the center of the road, and then when they're sitting there for a minute, you see an orange glow just land on their, like shine on their backs, and they realize that the car is on fire. And what's awesome about this is that Steve Martin, Neil Page says, "It finally happened to you. Something that you rented. Something went wrong to you, like your money." And he goes, "How did you rent this damn thing anyway?" "I just sold the girl some shower curtain rings behind the counter." "Dell, you can't rent a car with shower curtain rings." "Well, I opened my wallet and you weren't around, and I noticed that your Diners Club card was in my wallet." And he accuses him of stealing it. And the best part is he says, "I thought you put it there." "Why would I put it there?" "Kindness?" Which is like great, So
And again, it's just he's kind of naive, but it's not his fault. It's just who he is.
And he's not
a bad guy.
he's also desperate. He really, he says, "I was going to pay you back, when I could, but I didn't have your info." But the funniest thing is that he really meant that. You know what I mean? I believe him. I don't think he was lying about that. It's just that he's also freezing and doesn't want to, be stuck, so he rents a car. But it's just funny that he rents it with Steve Martin's thing. So, anyways, they wait for the fire to go out, and they still drive it anyway. So, like the car is now like a convertible in the middle of the snow.
Yes.
And we're coming upon a section that is so, like it's mixed again of the anger, because he's still pissed. He's pissed that he spent his money on that car that just got lit on fire. And he goes, "A room for one," and he tries to pay for it with a credit card that's all like smoldering. It's got like freaking.
It's all melted. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he goes, "This isn't a credit card." And he says, "Yeah, well, I have $17 and a hell of a nice watch." And he gets him a room. And what's great is Dell. It says, "I could also use a room." He goes, "Do you have $17 and a nice watch?" No, I don't. I have $2 and a Casio. And he drapes it along his arm like a game show host.
Yes.
It's so great. And he goes, "I'm just going to have to say goodnight now." And he doesn't get him the room. So Dell is outside now in a convertible, like a car with no roof, getting snowed on. But the music starts up, and you see him talking to his wife, but just basically talking in spirit. You know what I mean? Like, he's just talking out loud. He says, "You're right. You're right." Whatever her name is. And he says, "I finally meet somebody whose company I really, really enjoy. And what do? I smother the poor guy." And like you could see it, like you just on his, you could tell he really, really is sincere about how bad he feels. And then Neil Page looks outside, who's nice and warm. He realizes Dell is just sitting in the car, getting snowed on. He has had time to calm down, and he feels bad, so he opens the door and he says, "Dell," waves him in. And it's a great scene right after this, because they're getting cocked on little tiny bottles of alcohol. And laughing
and eating like Dorito chips.
Yes, but it's great.
Like the little snack-sized chip bags. It's all they
Right.
have.
But I love how they're warming up to each other at this point, like during this, and they're just laughing, feeling good, basically. And Dell is basically saying, "Oh man, was those seats hot or what?" He goes, "I'm afraid to look at my ass. I'm afraid that I'm going to have little griddle marks on my ass like a Whopper." He goes, "Oh, right." And then
it's funny too, because in the car when they're driving, everything is so tacky, like because it's all been melted. Like they're just like everything they touch, their hands are sticking.
The steering
to it
wheel,
because, as plastic gets melted like that, it's just so. The funny thing is though is the next day when they're driving. And it's not bad enough where it got stuck. They're trying to get it unstuck, and he actually backs right into the hotel room that he was staying at. So they take off, like, "Hurry up, let's get out of here." But the funny part is when they get pulled over, they're driving down the highway, they get pulled over, and he says, "Nothing pretty much works on the car." He goes, "But the radio." He goes, "Isn't that funny?" And the radio still works. He goes, and the cop looks at him and says, "Do you think this really is roadworthy?" And he looks at him and goes, "Yeah, I think so." Like, there is nothing left to this car. And he looks at him with a straight face, goes, "Yeah, I definitely think this is
right. The speedometer's melted.
Absolutely.
So you can't even tell how fast he was going. What I also really, really like about that, prior to them getting pulled over, because when they get pulled over, the car gets impounded, because they have nothing, there's no way they can keep it. What I love about that is they've basically accepted their defeat in a way. They're still okay with the fact that, yes, we're driving in a car with no roof in November while it's freezing out, but like it doesn't matter. We're traveling and I'm feeling good, because they're both singing this little high-pitched song. "Blue moon over Kentucky, keep on shining." Like it's just having a blast, because at this point they've just accepted we're moving, and I'm happy.
But, though, there are times in the film, and I think there's so many good scenes, but when they're on the bus and when Neil says, I got a song. They're all doing a sing along. Everyone's having a good time. And he goes, I got a song. And he sings it. And it's just so offbeat. Like, no one knows anything. They're all
The most
staring at him
obscure.
like with this bad stare. Like, what? Yeah, like it was like, what the hell are
3
you singing?
coins and a
So
fountain.
Yeah, 3.
Each one, come on, you know this. Each one seeking happiness.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because it shows how out of touch his character is, even though he's supposed to be in marketing. Like, don't you think he would know what's kind of hip
Right.
and cool? But he doesn't. And you know what? Del is a kind of guy that can relate to the common guy. I mean, he doesn't expect steak
Right.
every day. He doesn't, he's your kind of diner kind of guy, he's just where I think that, obviously we know that from the plane ride, oh no, I had first class. With Steve Martin's character, he doesn't really relate well to the common guy. He's
Right.
out of touch. And it showed that many times during the film, how he's
Right.
out of touch.
Yeah, and then Del obviously realizes that there's an awkward silence when Steve Martin tries to sing, so he goes, Flintstones meet and the whole entire bus starts to sing along, which is just like an instant opposite, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And
Right.
now, just to speed things up, what I love is they finally, after they get the car impounded, they get on one final train back to Chicago. Now they end up landing at a specific train station where Del is going to sit in the train station and Neil is going to move on, back to his house. And he's like, no, it's a gift, Del. I'm much better. I feel so much better. And he goes, no, let me get your address so I can send you the money.
Almost like a Christmas Carol, almost like a Scrooge type of thing, right? I mean, he's been transformed. He's been made to see the finer things in life, not to always, the finer things, which basically is, he cares about his family more than anything, and he just, it's, I think he's kind of, he sees where he's at in life, and maybe he's not so proud of it, and now he wants to kind of maybe go back to the basics a little more. Right? I mean, it's that type of character.
And you see
at
him
that point.
riding home by himself, and he's replaying the stuff in his head that they've gone through, and he starts laughing a little bit and smiling. And, what's really cool about that is John Hughes was rolling camera. Steve Martin had no idea that he was rolling the camera. And Steve Martin was just sitting there thinking about his lines that were coming up eventually type of thing. And he was laughing about the stuff that he was having to say. And he thought it was such great facial expressions that he decided to keep it. But basically, so they added scenes where they're showing him thinking back to him and Del having these moments. And he also thinks back to when Del says, I haven't been home in years. And he starts putting 2 and 2 together that Del probably hasn't been to a home in God knows when. So he rides the train right back to the same train station and discovers that Del, his wife, had passed away years ago. He goes, I don't have a home. Like, she died a few years ago, and I haven't been able to, I don't think he wanted to. I don't think it's a matter of that he had no money to have a home. I just don't think he could live in an empty house without his wife because he loved her so much. So he goes, come with me. So you see them walking down the street, which is like Steve Martin's road, with the crate on each hand. Now, when they get inside, they're like, Dad's home, hey! And he hugs his whole family. His wife and him embrace, and I do love this, and I wish it was added back in because it gives the ending so much more weight. From we already discussed in the past.
It was a good, but it was a good,
Oh,
it was
it
a good
was.
ending, and I mean, it
But what I'm gonna-
definitely plays
what
on
I'm
your
going to tell you
emotions.
is going to give the ending even more weight on what's up with the wife, because the wife is embracing him as if he's this long lost soul, and when it's only been 2 days, right? she hugs him as if like he just came out of like a car wreck alive, right? Like, did you see her crying?
True. And she didn't know much. She knew a little bit from some payphone calls. It's not like today's world where she would have been receiving text messages, and so I don't think she knew a lot of what.
But
was
here's a
going
storyline that got dropped. She thought he was having an affair because every time he was making a phone call, which they cut out a lot of them. The Dell that he was talking about, she was thinking it was a woman. So when he shows up with a man named Del Griffith, she was relieved that this is not what she was fearing for the last 2 days. And that's when they were embracing. She's got like tears in her eyes and acting like, oh my God, thank God it's real. Because she really...
So now we know why his name wasn't like Tony or well, even Tony could be a female.
No,
like
she just
Tom
thought he was
or
making somebody up.
Steve, right? I mean...
She thought he was making up this Dell character. She goes, "Oh, how's your friend Dell?"
Okay.
And he goes, "I like something about." He goes, "Yeah, he's what do I want to know about him for?" And they're like, I hope whatever. And he goes, "Well, I dried my face off with his panties last night, because he was being sincere. He accidentally like dried his face off and he realized he was holding his underwear." And she hangs up on him, stuff like that. So it's like, how cool would that have been? It would have gave the ending so much more weight.
Yeah.
But either way, they're walking down the street to Every Time You Go Away by someone I don't even know. It's like a different person that's famous. But I just thought it was a really heartwarming ending because when they walk in, Dell is like almost like part of the family now. And I don't know, just a really, really, really heartwarming ending. Just if you don't feel emotions when you watch this, then you're not paying attention. That's how I feel.
Well, I mean, again, he John Hughes is just the coolest thing about it. We start off the movie in this like yuppie, ritzy New York City meeting room, right? I mean, obviously high rent kind of all business type of thing, and then we end up at his house. He's start real nice house, but how do they get there at the very end? How do you see them getting there?
Yeah.
Walking. They go back to the basics. And that's
awesome.
What he wanted you to see. He wanted you to see that life is about the basics. And you can find happiness so like the Dell, he just found happiness in every moment. He didn't really he was sad. I mean, obviously, and they showed it in the last scene. He missed his wife, and you could tell when he saw the two of them hug, he was sad because he had a moment.
But there was
of his
also
own
a smile
life.
there
So,
because
everyone
was happy for them.
He was happy for somebody else, and that's what makes him. That's how you can tell he's such a nice guy because he's just happy for them, even though it's not him. Yeah. He's selfless.
Awesome.
That's exactly. So cool. It's cool how you can laugh your ass off at a movie, but still have meaning to it. And that's I think we miss that in a lot of movies nowadays.
Watch that ending and don't feel a lump in your throat. I'm not saying you'll full on cry, but I promise you this: if you feel nothing there, then like I said, you weren't paying attention.
No, it's true. And it's such a play when they can have you crying from laughter to almost crying from like just reality, not even just being. It's not really sad. It's reality.
Awesome.
That's just some cool work there, and that's why, yes, we always talk about the. Would it be a different scenario if they had cell phones? He could have been texting and whatever. No, he has to go to a payphone. Can't always call. Things like that. I think there are a lot of things that maybe wouldn't happen today.
Well, they just have to change it up a little bit. They'd have to change up the problems. Like, the battery's dead, and I can't find a stupid good place that'll charge. Nobody will charge my phone. I can't, and I have no money to buy a charger. Whatever.
Or no phone signal or something.
Yeah, no bars.
All just
that
like
shit.
not getting a taxi cab. Well, there are Ubers today, right? So basically, this movie, I love it. Awesome. I absolutely love this movie. It's an awesome movie, and even though some of the things might be, a timeline for cars and things like that, the story itself, and I think it's timeless. It's
awesome.
a timeless, family and traveling and all of that. So
it's great.
Watch it this Thanksgiving. watch it whenever. It's just a great film. So
is good.
something that we like to do, and I have some stuff here. So something we like to do is, because Jay is so good at Billboard hits, at music, and we had already done a 1987. So let's do a 1985. We'll stick with the 80s, and I have a top 50. And how long did I give you the last time?
Give me 4 minutes, and just I failed miserably, but yeah, we'll try. Why don't we try 5? Just to
5 minutes.
Well,
All right,
let's
do
see.
5 minutes.
We'll
All
do
right,
top 50,
okay.
and we'll see how many I can jam out.
All right, let's see. Timer. We'll go to 5 minutes. All right, so 5 minutes.
All right.
You let me know.
I'm ready when
you're
are.
ready. I can't actually. You know what? I don't have a pen and paper. Let's just see how you do. I'm not even gonna correct you. So we'll just see how you do.
Yeah, just
I think you're gonna get a lot of these, anyways. Okay.
Yep.
So we'll start with 5 minutes, and you ready to go?
Yeah.
These are the top 50 of the 100 singles of 1985. All right, here we go. And Careless Whisper.
Wham.
Like a Virgin.
Madonna.
Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
Wham.
I Want to Know What Love Is.
Foreigner.
I Feel For You.
Shaka Khan.
Out of Touch.
Hall Notes.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Tears for Fears.
Money for Nothing.
Dire Straits.
Crazy for You.
Madonna.
Take on Me.
Uh-huh.
Every Time You Go Away.
Paul Young.
Easy Lover.
Phil Collins and Philip Bailey.
Can't Fight This Feeling.
REO Speedwagon.
We Built This City.
Starship.
Don't You Forget About Me.
Glass Tiger. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. Simple Minds. Sorry.
Cherish.
Cool and the Gang.
St. Elmo's Fire. Man in Motion.
John Parr.
The Heat Is On.
Glenn Fry.
We Are the World.
USA for Africa.
Shout.
Tears for Fears.
Part-Time Lover.
Stevie Wonder.
Saving All My Love for You.
Whitney Houston.
Heaven.
Bryan Adams.
Everything She Wants.
Wham.
Cool It Now.
Cool and the Gang. New Edition.
Miami Vice Theme.
Jan Hammer.
Lover Boy.
Billy Ocean.
Lover Girl.
No idea.
You Belong to the City.
Glenn Fry.
Oh Sheila.
Ready for the World.
Rhythm of the Night.
DeBarge.
One More Night.
Phil Collins.
Sea of Love.
Honey Drippers.
A View to Kill. View to a Kill.
Duran Duran.
The Wild Boys.
Duran Duran.
You're the Inspiration.
Chicago.
Neutron Dance.
Pointer Sisters.
We Belong.
Pat Benatar.
Night Shift.
Commodores.
Things Can Only Get Better.
Howard Jones.
All I Need.
Jack Wagner.
Freeway of Love.
Aretha Franklin.
Never Surrender.
Corey Hart.
Sussudio.
Phil Collins.
Strut.
Sheena Easton.
You Give Good Love.
Whitney Houston.
The Search Is Over.
Survivor.
Missing You.
John Waite.
Nope.
Huh.
I'll try it again. Missing You.
Climax.
Nope.
Okay.
Move on. Separate Lives.
Phil Collins and Marilyn Martin.
Okay. So the two that is number 50. So Missing You, we give you another shot at Missing You, and the other one you didn't know was Lover Girl. We still have time on the clock. we still have like 2 minutes. You blew. 85 was your year.
It's definitely
my
good.
God. That was incredible because you would have hit the 3 minutes. Other than these two that you don't know,
Lover Girl.
you would have had the 3 minutes.
I don't know.
Lover Girl. Anything? Lover
no.
Girl.
Can't think of it.
Nothing, huh? All right, so we'll go to that. Lover Girl is That's pretty good, by the way. My God. Tina Marie.
Okay.
Tina Marie, Lover Girl. And the other one that you didn't know was Missing You, which I would have thought John Waite, but Diana Ross.
Oh,
Diana
you know
Ross,
what? All right,
Missing
you're right. All right. I remember that. And I Miss You is by Climax. Okay, gotcha. I said Climax after that.
so-
So
Wow.
yeah, I know it now.
So 48 out of 50, and you did it in 3
Sweet,
minutes.
brother.
That's pretty
Sounds
good.
good.
That is really
Yeah.
good. Wow, that's good.
You know-
That's always fun to do.
You know what we'll
And
have to
So
do?
85. Well, do you like 85? Is that a good
It's
year, though?
definitely
Is that,
a good section. Yeah. So next time, what we'll do is the bottom 50. See, we only did the top 50. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but that's hard.
That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes it's the
We'll
next.
see.
Sometimes it's the
It
next
could be,
year.
yeah.
I mean,
Could be all the previous
not
year.
all, but not all of them are. Yeah, not all of them are songs you don't know. But some of them, they're obscure. So,
I got to go because my
Pretty cool.
family is
Pretty cool.
ready to roll. They
I
want me to
understand.
finish.
I understand.
So, awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, man.
An awesome movie, and I know it's not going to air right before Thanksgiving, or maybe it will. If it does, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and to all the viewers that watch the Film Crew.
All right, man. And take care, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.
It's a timer.
Cricket, chirping about movies.